Hello and welcome to Held and Heard. This is a podcast for pregnant and postpartum mamas who want to feel more connected to their babies and more confident in themselves. Here, we talk about elimination communication and infant potty learning as a way of listening, not as something to add to your plate, but as a way to better understand what your baby has been communicating from the very beginning. This is a place where you learn to trust your baby and yourself. I'm your host, Heather Medlin, mother of 3, infant potty learning educator, and founder of Ready from Birth, where I guide postpartum mamas through every stage of early potty learning, from birth to toilet independence. Each week, I'll help you slow down, tune in, and discover just how aware and capable your baby already is, so you can meet them with confidence instead of doubt. Your baby is communicating, and you are capable of listening. Let's get started. Welcome back to the podcast. This week, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I wanted to share with you an excerpt from this month's Listening Circle call. The Listening Circle is my monthly membership for EC mamas who are living this with their babies, implementing everything that they've learned in my courses, and actually making this work in their real, actual life over time. Because EC is not something that you learn once and then you're done. It's a journey with your baby. Your baby is constantly growing and changing and evolving. Signals are going to come and go and change and shift, and it's really going to keep you on your toes. So if you have ever wondered why teething hits at 4 months and all of a sudden your baby's signals disappear overnight, or your baby starts solids and all of a sudden you can't catch a single poop, or they hit 10 months and they refuse to sit on the potty, y'all, this is why. The Listening Circle is where we actually get together and we troubleshoot this live, and we talk through it together with me in real time with our community of other like-minded mamas. This week, I'm going to share an excerpt from this week's call. We just had it on Friday of last week, and I am going to get really raw and vulnerable with you. I'm sharing some things there that I do not normally share on Instagram, but I realized that this needs to be spoken out loud. This needs to be said. And you're not hearing this from most of the public EC sources that you've probably found because people don't want to share the uncomfortable reality of it. And that is exactly what I'm going to do today. So grab your cup of coffee, tune on in, and let's get started. This is real motherhood. This is the real balancing act of trying to raise your kids, trying to run a household, trying to work a job or have a career, trying to build a business. All of these things, they're part of the package. And I want you to see that I am carrying all of those things just like you are, and we're still doing EC. And I think so many people feel like if I can't do it perfectly, if I can't be paying attention all the time, if I have a job, if I have a this, if I have that, it's not going to be for me. And you're already here. So I know that you've already made the decision, made the intentional choice to pursue this practice. And I also know how difficult and challenging it can be. So I allow you to see this because it is challenging. It is juggling a lot, and that's okay. I'm here. This call is here to support you in that, to encourage you in that, and to just help you to be renewed in your commitment to this and to feel like you can do this. It doesn't have to be perfect for it to be worth it. All right. I really wanted to share something that happened yesterday that is not something you're probably ever going to see me talk about on Instagram. And you're probably not going to ever see other people talking about this in the EC space. There are more and more people talking about EC online now, which is amazing. I love that this is becoming more and more commonplace. More people are talking about it. More moms know about this. But I feel like there is this stigma of not wanting to admit that it's not going perfectly, because all the mainstream moms who aren't doing EC, who think, why would you take your baby out of a diaper? Why would you hold them over a toilet? You could just leave them in a diaper and change it later. That's so easy. Why would I do it any differently? I think there's a lot of pressure from the 99% of people that are not doing this of like, well, if it's not working perfectly, why would you do it? If you had a miss or you had an accident or you had a mess or there was poop on the floor, why would you do this? And so I think it can be really hard for us who are practicing EC to be able to share openly on the internet in public, and not even with our family or our friends who don't do this practice, who might not even agree with this practice, who might think we're actively harming our baby with this practice. I think it can be really, really difficult to be able to share openly when things don't go as expected or when things don't go perfectly or well, because then they're just going to say, well, I told you so. Of course it didn't work. I told you this is never going to work. Why would you think that a baby less than a year old could ever possibly be potty trained or use the potty or not be in diapers? There's so much doubt there already that it's very difficult to admit openly that things are not going perfectly. I wanted to share with you all what happened yesterday because I think you need to see this. You need to see that this is part of my journey also. And I've done this before. I teach this stuff. There's a huge number of people who have used my teaching and started EC and been successful with it. I coach this stuff and I'm still experiencing the messes. Let me tell you about what happened yesterday. Our baby is 12 and a half months old. He's in his underwear most of the time at home. He's just started walking, so he's got that mobility piece down. Right now, the skill that he's really working on a lot is getting onto his potty by himself. He will just get on and off 6 times over and over again and never use it right now, just to make sure that he can do it. He's practicing this skill. He wants to make sure he can do it. And the end result of doing this with your baby over time is that by the time that they're walking, they can take themselves to the potty. And that is true with caveats. So let me tell you about that because we are there. My baby has just started walking. So how is it going? Is that panning out with him? And yesterday, I just fed him. We were home from dinner. We've been at the park when we were eating dinner, and he was very clearly showing me that he needed to go. He needed to poop. He was feeling a little agitated. I forgot to bring the potty, and I didn't have it with me. So we're out of the park. There's no bathrooms. We don't have a potty. He is at this stage where he is fiercely independent, does not want me to hold him in a classic hold at all. He feels way too constricted for me to do that. Basically won't even pee beside the car when I offer. He just goes stiff as a board and arches his back and screams, and it's like definitely not happening. So that's where we're at with him on offers without the potty. I knew he was feeling agitated. He didn't really want to eat a lot of dinner. He was just fussy and crying a lot. So I knew he needed to go. We got home. I put him on the potty. He sat down on his own and was sitting there. We read his book. Nothing happened. So he got off the potty. He got back on a couple of times. So I knew he needed to go and he was practicing getting himself on, but he didn't go and he didn't stay. So he's crawling around the house and I just left his diaper off. And this is what I teach since I ditched the diapers. And here's the thing. I'm comfortable with this amount of risk because I understand the process. I understand where it leads and that the risk and the mess is a necessary part of the journey to get to the success on the other side. I know that there's going to be messes before we get to the end result of my baby is consistently taking himself to the potty. He's not wearing diapers. He's doing it on his own. So he's got nothing on. He's bare booty running around the house. It's bedtime. I'm trying to clean up the kitchen. I'm trying to get everything kind of closed down so we can go to bath time. And all of a sudden I hear him start shrieking from the other room. So I run over to see what's happening. He's sitting on my daughter's wooden rocking chair, just terrified face. He's leaning up and he's looking and there's poop, like massive amounts of poop on the chair, on the floor next to the chair. It's on his leg. It's on his foot. He's horrified. He's looking at it and he's like, Mama, this just happened. So yeah, my baby pooped on the chair. And we cleaned it up and we cleaned the floor. We got the poop in the toilet. I cleaned up my baby. But later, he climbed on his little potty by himself right before bed. I always give him a chance to go again. And he was doing this downward dog thing next to the potty. Literally had his head on the floor. He was in a complete downward dog with his head on the floor. I wish I was that flexible. But he just was in an upside down V and was sitting on the potty. And he was just doing this, just practicing, making sure he could do it. And then today, I had him in his underwear and pants, and he was running around, and he found his potty, and he ran over, and I saw him grab the potty, and I knew he needed to go, so I'm coming to help him, because he still can't take his pants off by himself. That is not a skill that he's developed yet. We will be working on that soon. My daughter didn't develop that skill until about 18 months, and he's only 12, so I think we've still got some time. So I'm going over to help him, and by the time I had gotten there, he did his little downward dog sit move and was sitting on the potty with pants on. Peed in his pants on the potty. So I was like, good job. We did it. You knew that you needed to go. You went to the potty. You sat on the potty on your own, but I had not gotten his pants out of the way for him to be able to be successful with that. I share all this because in both situations, we had a mess and a miss. We had poop on the floor, we had poop on the chair, and we had pee laundry to clean up later. But he is layering these skills together. And this is all part of building the skills to be able to eventually take himself. My daughter did not start walking until she was 15 months. And she was showing me signs that she was trying to get on her potty by 12 months. And it was not until 14 months that she successfully went, took herself to her potty and sat down and pooped on it when she needed to go. But 14 months, she was doing that at 14 months. And most babies are never even going to get a chance to do this without a diaper until they're 2, 3 years old. I want you to see behind the curtains a little bit of this process because it's not a one and done or an overnight thing or it just happens like that and voila, they're potty trained. This is a process. This is a layering on of skills, practicing, repetition, messing up and trying again, messing up and trying again. And I'm comfortable with that because I understand that this is a necessary part of the process for my baby to learn these skills. And so I'm giving him the space with his diaper off, knowing he needs to poop, knowing that he's already had dinner, it's bath time, he hasn't pooped today, and he's naked. I'm giving him that opportunity to try to get there. And today, if he had been naked, he could have gotten there. He went to the potty and he tried to sit down on it, but he had his clothes in the way. He wasn't really unsuccessful because he did what I was expecting him to do and what I've been encouraging him to do. I just hadn't done my part by getting his clothes out of the way. And you can begin to build these skills with your baby when you're starting from birth or before 6 months, whenever you're starting. It really doesn't matter how old your baby is because you have to build these skills of awareness, communication, and eventually empowerment. The independence piece that I'm working on now with my baby is the end of the journey. We don't get there by not building the awareness and communication pieces first. From birth, I was working with him on the awareness piece. He started actively communicating to me within the first few weeks of life. And by 10 weeks, he was consistently communicate every single time. Hated to be wet, would always scream and look at me like I'm about to pee because he didn't want to be wet in his diaper. By 10 weeks, awareness and communication are part of the journey to be able to get to where we are now with building independence. And he's got it. He is walking. He is fully aware of his needs. He is going to the potty when he needs to go. He won't sit there if he doesn't need to go. And so I'm really having to get out of the way and not try to get every catch as the mama, which I could. I understand his signals and I know how to get him to sit on the potty long enough to go. But I am intentionally choosing to back away from that so that he has the room to get the catch himself. If I'm always trying to get the catch myself, I'm not giving him the chance to recognize what's happening, make the choice to go into the potty, do the physical act of sitting down. I'm giving him the room to do this and be successful. And I'm confident that he's going to get there. And it's really exciting to watch his journey because he wants to be big. He wants to be big like his brother and sister who are 5 and 3. And he sees them going to the potty and wiping on their own and washing their hands on their own. He's loving learning these skills, mastering these skills of independence himself, and beginning to do big things like they are. And I know that he has a desire to be successful with potty training and to do it on his own. And I'm giving him the chance to get there by getting his diaper out of the way, getting his underwear out of the way, and giving him the opportunity to do this. I wanted to share this because the misses are not things people are going to talk about online. You're not going to see people talk about it because if I said, yeah, my baby pooped on the chair on Instagram, people are going to be like, well, duh. He wasn't wearing a diaper. Babies have absolutely no control over their bowels. And you know, because you're here, that they do. You've seen it. You've witnessed it. You've lived it. I want this space, the listening circle, to be a space for you to come and be vulnerable, to share the things that you wouldn't tell your mom, to share the things that you certainly aren't going to tell your mom friends who are like Pampers on subscription. This is a place for you to share what's really going on It doesn't have to be perfect. You are not failing if you have missed every pee signal for a week. There are days that I have literally missed every single pee signal, and we have not gotten a single pee in the potty recently because my baby is growing up. He is not a passive baby that just does whatever I suggest for him to do right now. He wants to be his own person. He wants to do it himself. And so I have to let go. I have to give him space to do that to be successful. And I want you to feel comfortable sharing that it's not going well, coming here to work through the kinks, to talk through what is working, what you're not sure about. Maybe you're starting daycare soon. That's something that we're going through now. And we can come here together and talk through it and figure out how you can apply what you know already, what you've learned in the courses, what you've learned from my content, and be able to apply it to your specific baby. This is the part of EC that almost nobody talks about, the in-between, the messy middle, where it's working, but it's not working consistently. Even when you know what you're doing, it can still be messy. Your baby is learning and they're getting better over time, but it's not perfect. You're not perfect. They're not perfect. And this is normal. If you're finding yourself in this stage where you're not a beginner anymore, you've already gotten over the hump of getting started, but you're also not fully confident in what to do next, this is exactly where so many moms get stuck. It's not because EC doesn't work. It's because you don't have a place to actually talk through what's happening with your specific baby. And that is exactly why I created the listening circle. It's a space where you can bring the real stuff, the misses, the messes, the resistance, the what do I actually do now? And we work through it together, not in theory, in real time. So if you're already practicing EC and you're finding yourself in this stage, I would love to support you inside. You can find the link to join in the show notes down below, and I'll see you at our next live call. Thanks so much for tuning in this week. I will catch you next Monday. Bye for now. If you loved today's episode, would you take a moment to help me reach even more mamas with this message? Leave me a review or share this with a friend. You can help even more families discover what's possible. You can find education and support for every stage of your baby's potty learning journey at readyfrombirth.com. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at readyfrombirth.ec. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back every Monday with a brand new episode. See you next time. Bye for now.